Once upon a time, between two high hills, there was a small kingdom. On one hill, people grew grapes and olives. On the other hill, the wind was so strong that no one wished to climb it. People called it the Hill of Heavy Wind. There was only one road between the kingdom and the sea. That road went around the quiet hill. It was long, but safe. To reach the sea faster, people would have to go over the Hill of Heavy Wind, but no one did. They said, "The wind will push you down. You will lose your goods. You will fall and die." So they walked the long way. The old king watched this and grew troubled. "My people avoid hard things," he thought. "They do not see how strong they truly are." One morning he called his sons, his knights, and the people of the kingdom to his hall. "You all know the Hill of Heavy Wind," the king said. "We walk around it instead of over it. Today I will place our flag at the top. Whoever brings it back before sunset will win gold, land, and my trust." The oldest prince stepped forward first. He was strong, proud, and sure of victory. The second prince smiled calmly. He trusted his cleverness more than his hands. The youngest prince stood behind them, quiet and unsure. Near the doorway stood Walter, a thin stable boy with rough hands and simple shoes. He came only to listen, not to compete, but something in the king's words stirred his heart. The gates opened. The trial began. The oldest prince reached the foot of the hill, wearing heavy armor and a bright cloak. At the first bend, the wind caught him like a giant hand. His cloak became a sail. He stumbled, cursed, tried again, and finally turned back. "This wind is madness," he said. "Father asks for the impossible." The second prince stopped even earlier. He looked at the rocks, the sky, the dust. "There must be a smarter way," he said. "I will draw a plan for a tunnel. Today I climb nothing." He returned to the castle to work on maps. Two knights made an attempt together. They lifted their shields and pushed forward, but the wind broke their formation again and again. Soon they also returned, breathless and defeated. A pair of merchants walked a few steps up the slope, felt the wind tugging at their clothes, and decided the prize wasn't worth the risk. The sun rose higher. People watched the empty hillside and shook their heads. No one had reached even the middle. Walter stood in the crowd, his heart beating fast. He whispered to the king, "Your Majesty, may a stable boy try?" The hall grew quiet. Some men began to smile in a cruel way. "A stable boy? He will fly like a feather," someone whispered. But the king looked into Walter's eyes. He saw fear there. He also saw something else, a small flame. "Yes," the king said. "Go. The hill does not care if you are a prince or a stable boy." Walter bowed and walked alone toward the slope. The first gust nearly pushed him off his feet. His eyes watered. His legs shook. Fear clung to him like cold hands. He remembered all the days he took the long road around the hill, returning home late and tired. "Maybe I'm tired," he thought, "because I always avoid the hard way." He tightened his cloak close around his body. He tied a rope around his waist and fastened the other end to a heavy stone at the first turn. "If I fall," he thought, "I will not fall far. I will stand again." Step by step, he climbed. He leaned into the wind when it pressed against him. He shielded himself when it struck from the side. And when a rare gust pushed from behind, he let it help him a little. He learned the wind as he moved. He did not fight it with anger. He adjusted, he listened. Sometimes he slipped onto his hands. Sometimes he fell to his knees. The ground scraped his palms. His breath grew harsh. But each time he rose again. From below, people watched the small figure climbing. No armor, no shield, just steady steps. The youngest prince watched too, feeling something he could not name. Walter reached the middle of the hill. The wind was wild there. It pulled at his hair and stole his breath. For a moment he wanted to stop. he looked down. The long road around the hills seemed thin and far. He saw how people walked it every day, year after year, never changing. He whispered, "I did not come this far to turn back." He stood again, gathered what strength he had left, and climbed. At last he reached the top. The flag stood in a crack between the rocks, shaking in the wind. Walter lay flat, pulled himself forward, and grabbed it. His hands trembled, but he held it close. He did not celebrate. He simply breathed, then began the descent. Now the wind felt different. He understood its rhythm. It no longer frightened him. When he reached the foot of the hill, the crowd fell silent. Then cheers rose like a wave. The king stepped forward with his sons. He took the flag from Walter and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Today," the king said, "a stable boy climbed what princes and knights would not face. You did not wait for the wind to calm. You did not look for an easier path. You walked toward the hill." The oldest prince looked away. The second prince folded his map. "Tell us," the king said gently, "what did you learn up there?" Walter answered quietly, "At the bottom, the wind felt too strong. But the more I climbed, the more I learned how it moved. The hill did not change. The wind did not change. I changed." The king nodded. "Remember this?" he said to his sons and to the people. "Obstacles do not come to stop us. They come to train us. If we run from them, we remain small. If we face them, we grow stronger than we were." From that day, a new road was built over the hill of heavy wind. The king asked Walter to help, for he knew the hill better than anyone. People crossed it slowly at first. Some were afraid, but each time they climbed, they grew braver. And when the wind touched their faces, many of them smiled. My friends, we all have our own hills of heavy wind, fear, pain, doubt. If we always walk around them, nothing changes. When we face them, they shape us. Obstacles are not here to break us. They are here to make us strong. And remember this, the hill in front of you is never the real enemy. The real enemy is the quiet voice that tells you to wait. If you listen to it, nothing in your life will ever move. But when you take one step toward the wind, your world begins to open. Not because the challenge becomes smaller, but because you become bigger. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment. Your support gives strength to create more stories like this. See you again with a new tale.